Indonesia's government names 12 more tech and digital companies to pay VAT. Applies stock split, Sido shares price to be 50 rupiah per share. Good afternoon, viewers in Indonesia and Singapore. Market Headlines is ready to provide you a number of information from business, economic, and capital market sectors. With me, Clara Antawijaya, and this is Market Headlines. And yes, viewers, Indonesia's government added 12 more companies, including Twitter and Zoom, to a list of internet-based businesses that must pay 10% value-added tax on sales. Indonesia's government added 12 more companies, including Twitter and Zoom, to a list of internet-based business that must pay 10% value-added tax on sales. Previously in July, Indonesia had already announced that Alphabet, Google, Asia Pacific, Netflix, and Facebook, among other tech companies, would be liable to VAT. Meantime, among the latest companies named were business networking site linked in Singapore, Skype Communications, antivirus provider McAfee Ireland, and also Microsoft Ireland operations. The Indonesia Tax Office also put a game developer Mojang AB and streaming platforms Novi Digital Entertainment and VooClip Singapore on the list, as well as digital marketplaces Jingdong Indonesia, Pertama, and Shopee International Indonesia. The company must start charging VAT to advertisers and also other customers from October 1st, 2020. And for information, under rules introduced earlier this year, non-resident foreign firms that generate annual sales of at least 600 million rupiah or approximately $40,650 for digital products and services in Indonesia from at least 12,000 users are required to pay VAT. From all sources for IDX Channel. Moving on to oil and gas sector, Indonesia's oil and gas lifting in August 2020 recorded significant increase. It surpassed 2020 revised state budget, whereas it hit 707,000 barrels per day from the initial target of 705,000 barrels per day. Even though in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic and once experienced sharp decline in the first semester of 2020, Special Task Force for Upstream Oil and Gas recorded that the total oil lifting in August 2020 had bounced significantly. In August 2020, oil lifting reached 706.9 million barrels per day. The number is equivalent to 100.3% of 2020 revised state budget of 705 million barrels per day. Lifting target achievement was on point because there was no unplanned shutdown, and also productions of ExxonMobil Cepu Limited that contribute around 168,000 barrels up to 200,000 barrels a day. Special Task Force for Upstream Oil and Gas stated that there is a good chance for upcoming years if only there will be no unplanned shutdown. Therefore, the task force firmly believed that Indonesia's oil and gas lifting can fulfill 2020 revised state budget target, which is 705,000 barrels per day.
Yang sebetulnya sudah dilakukan beberapa bulan yang lalu, tetapi bulan ini tuh capaiannya sempurna. Jadi apa? Usaha untuk meningkatkan produksi kita berhasil. Yang utama itu dari MCL. MCL itu dari awalnya kan direncanakan hanya 165.000. Kemudian di awal tahun 2020 kita bisa naikin sampai menjadi 200.000 barrel per hari.
Same thing happens in gas lifting, which reached a number of 99.3%. Super thin difference, to reach the target of 2020 revised state budget. Susana stated that it was due to less gas absorptions due to less demand from off-takers because of lack demand and consumption. Jakarta, Muhammad Olga for IDX Channel. Pertamina is aware that small-medium enterprises coaching and mentoring is highlighted as an area that urgently needing attention given its economic impact. This can be shown with the fact that Pertamina has handed out around 3.5 trillion rupiah for SME coaching. Since 1993, Pertamina has given small-medium enterprises coaching or mentoring intervention. The company believes that small-medium enterprises largely contribute to the national economy. President Director of Pertamina, Nika Widiawati, stated that up until now, Pertamina has provided large fund worth 3.5 trillion rupiah for the sake of small-medium enterprises development. In the case, Pertamina's objections is more to coaching and mentoring.
Pertamina telah membina lebih dari 63.000 UMKM dan kita sudah melakukan penyaluran bagi UMKM ini dalam bentuk program kemitraan sejak tahun 1993, totalnya adalah 3,5 triliun rupiah.
As the program has started since 1993, Pertamina recorded that involved small-medium enterprises has reached 63,000 enterprises. From Jakarta, Ricky Anwardi for IDX Channel. Yes, viewers, human resources quality is one of the crucial aspects in developing small-medium enterprises industry. Human resources development expert assess that in order to boost up small-medium enterprises capacity, it needs advanced managerial skills to strong leadership hand-in-hand with proper training. Blessed with plentiful natural resources, which manifest huge economic advantages, it should be enough to bring Indonesia in the same level of other industrial countries. But in terms of economic competitiveness, natural resources needs to be matched with good quality of human resources. CEO Industry and Business Institute of Management, Imade Danatangka, stated that human resources is essential part in developing economy, starting from small-medium economic, which is assessed to be national economy backbone. He stated that human resources in small-medium enterprises need to be equipped with a good competence, for instance, soft skills and hard skills. So it is hoped that by encouraging the quality of human resources, it can help improve quality and endurance of small-medium enterprises in facing future competition.
Sementara kita sudah mempunyai sumber daya alam yang melimpah dan juga sumber daya manusia yang banyak. Dan kita coba melihat komparasi dengan Singapura, dengan kemudian Korea, Jepang, dan belakangan China, ya Amerika, Eropa tentunya ya sebagai komparasi. Dan memang kalau kita lihat seharusnya kita sudah menjadi negara industri yang besar gitu kan. Nah itu kalau kita lihat lebih dalam lagi, ternyata di balik daripada kegiatan usaha atau industri itu ada yang disebut dengan konsep bahwa kita harus membentuk sumber daya manusia dulu. Membentuk sumber daya manusia yang unggul itu sangat penting sekali. Yang program pemerintah sekarang sudah ada kan.
In the other hand, IBIMA is also committed to collaborate with various parties in developing the pilot project for leading industries and prosperous villages. It is hoped that by this program we'll be able to encourage improvements in the quality of human resources in the future. Jakarta, Rahajo Bamo for IDX Channel. Stay tuned on market headlines because we will be right back after this quick break with the news coverage regarding Indonesia Exim Bank.
Seiring dengan penutupan dari Bursa Wall Street di mana S&P kembali mencatatkan rekor tertinggi sepanjang sejarah, buat IHSG juga pada pagi hari ini dibuka di teritori positif pemirsa.
Kedua, pasar masih melihat adanya proses recovery yang terus berjalan.
Sementara di Asia kita lihat berakhir positif juga pada perdagangan Jumat kemarin setelah rilis data ekonomi di wilayah Eropa dan Amerika yang mengalami penguatan. Ada 17 investor asing yang tertarik berinvestasi di Indonesia. Selain itu, BKPM mengklaim terdapat 119 investor lainnya yang berpotensi merelokasi industrinya dari negara lain ke Indonesia.
Nama saya Devisa Novel, jabatan saat ini di IDX Channel adalah sebagai produser dan sekaligus presenter program yang dibawakan saat ini dengan nama IDX Second Session Closing, terkait juga dengan kondisi capital market Indonesia dan perkembangannya dari waktu ke waktu. Dan saya sangat senang untuk belajar dan berkecimpung di berita ekonomi, khususnya di capital market.
Adikarya komitmennya kemanapun dan apapun yang akan dibangun oleh negara, kita akan siap mendukung. Kita juga saat ini punya proyek di ujung Banda Aceh dan juga punya proyek di Papua.
Welcome back to Market Headlines. Currently, Indonesia Exim Bank gets special assignment export from the government. But however, Executive Director of Indonesia Exim Bank stated that to get assistance, it needs to get through several screening methods so that it will fit into the target. Indonesia Exim Bank has carried out special assignment of the government to support national export program, especially when it is about small medium enterprises. Executive Director of Indonesia Exim Bank, Daniel James Rompas, explained that to get provided loan in the program, business actors need to get through several steps. In the process, credit applications will be submitted and will be analyzed by Exim Bank and Askrindo as credit guarantor. If approved, the analyst will be assessed by the financing committee and will be continued into a loan agreement.
Penjaminan kredit hingga 70% sehingga akan meningkatkan syarat kolateral karena adanya kerjasama dengan Askrindo yang tadi kita sama-sama saksikan sudah ditandatangani. Tingkat bunga tadi sudah disampaikan Pak Heri adalah kurang lebih 6%, sudah termasuk penjaminan.
As a credit enhancer, Indonesia Exim Bank guaranteed that interest will be in competitive level. Jakarta, Raja Pamo for IDX Channel. Indonesia Exim Bank has carried out special assignment of the government to support the national export program, especially when it is about small medium enterprises. The program is a synergy program of 5 ministries, namely Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, and the Ministry of Trade, and also Ministry of Industry and Cooperative and SMEs. And before we go deeper, let's dive in the first graphic to see the special assignment export scheme. And then through your screen, we can see the graphic regarding the scheme of the special assignment export program. Here it is. We can see, even though it is from the government, that is a synergy from 5 ministries, but however, Ministry of Finance issued the Ministry of Finance Decree number 372 of 2020, and it has handed out Indonesia Exim Bank to deliver small medium enterprises in the terms of credit distributions. And therefore, the fact that government asked Indonesia Exim Bank to improve the quality of export goods produced by small medium enterprises is hand in hand with the government's target on national economy program. Beforehand, Indonesia Exim Bank used to focus its service on providing guidance through consultations and training programs. But since COVID-19 hit Indonesia Exim Bank is eligible to distribute credit as well. In the next graphic, I will show you Indonesia Exim Bank's scope of assistance in the special assignment export. Here it is. Through your screen, you can see that the graphic regarding Indonesia Exim Bank's scope of assistance. We can see the first point is regarding the supporting national export program through export financing. This is laid in Indonesia Exim Bank
official website, but however, it also lays in the Ministerial Finance Decree. And the next one is that the providing financing for transactions or projects that are not viable for commercials, because there are some projects that is really hard and very viable to the commercial issue. And the next one is that assisting banks and financial institutions in overcoming any difficulties. And the next one is extending funding for exporters deemed as commercially promising. And here it is. Executive Director of Indonesia Exim Bank, Daniel James Rompas, stated that the target of the program is for export-oriented small-medium enterprises in all sectors, whether they provide goods and services, and of course, it has segmentations for the beneficiaries. So let's check it through the next graphic about the segmentations. Here it is through your screen. You can see the segmentations of the small-medium enterprises. Let's take a look at the first segmentations, which is the small one. It consists of 500 million rupiah to 2 billion rupiah. And moving on to the medium side of it, as you can see through your screen, the range is becoming in the 2 billion rupiah within 15 billion rupiah. And of course, the large one is that above 15 billion rupiah. And within the process, the credit applications will be submitted and will be analyzed by the Exim Bank and Askrindo as the credit guarantor. If approved, then the analysis will be assessed by the financing committee and will be continued to a loan agreement. And therefore, let's see about the terms and conditions to apply the Indonesia Exim Bank assistance. Through your screen, we can see that there are terms and conditions to be applied by the small medium enterprises to apply this assistance from Indonesia Exim Bank. First of all, the small medium enterprises must have productive export-oriented business for at least 2 years operations. And the second one is that the small medium enterprises should have latest financial statement for the past 2 years, not only 1 year, but it is 2 years. And the third one is that the small medium enterprises should have a productive export-oriented business, as well as mentioned before. And the fourth one is that have a tax identifications number, business license, business identifications number, and so on, which Indonesian small medium enterprises will have that. And in the process, we can see that the applications will be submitted and will be analyzed by the Exim Bank and Askrindo as the credit guarantor, as I mentioned before, and will be continued to a loan agreement. And therefore, viewer, we are truly aware that small medium enterprises is national economic backbone, and we hope by this Indonesia Exim Bank special assignment export, it can escalate small medium enterprises development. So stay tuned for more headlines, because we will be right back after this quick break.
Bagaimana sebetulnya Menteri BUMN Erick Thohir dan juga Direktur Utama Krakatau Steel?
Dirutnya dengan menterinya sama-sama kan milenial, harusnya lebih move on daripada apa yang sudah ada sebelum-sebelumnya.
Adi akan ada proyek bikin hunian atau tempat tinggal?
Konsepnya adalah membawa kemudahan masyarakat sekitar Jakarta untuk bekerja di pusat kota. Total saat ini Adi Komuter Property mengembangkan 11 titik ya. Kalau Mas baru beli sekarang mungkin udah ke 3.000 sekian pembeli.
Kita bisa mulai merasakan fase 1 di tahun berapa?
Di tahun 2021.
Sebetulnya industri hilir itu lokal itu udah siap. Jadi pemerintah juga nggak perlu lagi menarik investor untuk industri hilir. Jadi pemerintah cukup menarik investor untuk industri bahan baku.
Market hari ini sudah dibuka dan menghijau begitu. Anda ada di zona positif, akankah ini terus berlanjut?
Saya masih mencermati untuk saham-saham ini ya. Tambangan, saham alam putra nih ya. Asli kan kemarin belum naik, ini potensi naik.
Welcome back to Market Headlines, and let's take a look at Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement. So earlier today, JCI was open at level of 5,203.33, but then approaching the closing time of the first session, the index was on level of 5,179, and the index was showing weakening trend by the second session closing time. The index was closed at a level of 5,149.37, and in short, JCI went down 1.81%. And next, we are going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got constructions as the leader of the strengthening trend that went up 1.43%. And the leader of the weakening trend, we got agriculture that went down 2.39%, MISC industry that went down 2.2%, and trade that went down 0.82%. And moving on to the top gainers and the top losers, here are the key highlights for today's trading. BH80 that went up 2.88% at 500. TCIP that went up 2.21% at the level of 4,630. CIDO that went up 2.4% at the level of 1,495. And JSKY that went up 9.46% at the level of 162. And in time for the top losers, here it is through your screen. We got BBRI that went down 2.27% at the level of 3,440. And BBNI still from the banking issuers that went down 2.86% at the level of 5,100. BMRI still from the banking issuers. We got three banking issuers in the top losers that went down 2.93% at the level of 5,800. And PJIS that went down 3.39% at the level of 11,000 at the level of 1,140. And next, step aside to the intraday movement of rupiah towards US dollar. So rupiah opened at the level of 14,853, but rupiah showing weakening trend toward US dollar and was closed at a level of 14,859. In summary, rupiah went down 1.16%. And moving on to medicinal herbs manufacturer, Sido Muncul announced its stock split plan will be executed on next Monday. By the implementations of the stock split, the share price of Sido will be 50 rupiah per share, or half of the previous price.
Medicinal herbs and pharmaceuticals manufacturer Sido Muncul announced the schedule for the implementation of the stock split. Through an official announcement, the company stated that it would start trading shares with a new nominal price on the regular market and the negotiation market on Monday, September 14, 2020. Meanwhile, trading of shares with new nominal price on the cash market will take place 2 days later on September 16, 2020. Meanwhile, the end of trading of shares with old nominal price on the regular market and the negotiation market is scheduled on September 11, 2020. The management explained that the shareholders approved the corporate action by changing the nominal price of shares from 100 rupiah per share to 50 rupiah per share. And furthermore, the company claimed that the goal of conducting a stock split is to increase liquidity, especially for retail investors. From all sources for IDX Channel.
Due to a significant decline on net profit that sank almost 100% in the first half, retailer company Ramayana Lestari claimed that COVID-19 pandemic was the main reason beyond the company's lower performance.
Retailer company Ramayana Lestari Sentosa explained the reason for the drop in the company's net profit by 99% in the first 6 months of this year. The management stated that the COVID-19 pandemic, which resulted in large-scale social restrictions, was the main cause of the decline in company performance throughout the first half of 2020. The management also stated that the lower performance has impacts of closing outlets, limiting outlet operating hours, and decreasing public purchasing power. For information, in the first half of 2020, the company recorded gross sales of 2.2 trillion rupiah, down by 58.3% year-on-year, while the company's net revenue also fell by 57.8%. As a result, net profit in the first half of 2020 only 5.36 billion rupiah, or decreased by 99.1%. Meanwhile, to overcome the decline in sales and gross profit, the management of Ramayana Lestari is taking steps to exercise tight control and efficiency of overall operational costs, including efforts to obtain rental fee relief from the developer. From all sources, for IDX Channel.
Bank Mandiri stated that the implementations of credit restructuring has begun to slow down. It can be seen from the number of debtors who propose for restructuring, which is much smaller in the beginning of the program a few months ago. Vice President of Bank Mandiri, Heri Gunardi, said that the trend of restructuring in Bank Mandiri has slowed down. He explained that up to now, the amount of credit restructured is around 120 trillion rupiah. This amount was implemented for more than 500,000 debtors from the wholesale, retail, micro, corporate, and other sectors who are experiencing financial problems due to COVID-19 pandemic. And yes, viewers, step aside from the market conditions as coronavirus pandemic takes a big role on current economic situations. Here it is an update data about coronavirus globally. And the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, the Trustworthy Economic Business and Capital Market Channel. I'm Claranta Wijaya. Have a nice evening and stay safe.
Apakah Anda memiliki perusahaan dan ingin mengembangkannya? Perlu dana lebih untuk ekspansi? Ingin kepercayaan lebih dari kreditur dan bank? Perlu peningkatan image perusahaan? Perlu strategic partners? Menghadapi potensi sengketa dalam keluarga pemilik? Butuh penerapan good corporate governance yang lebih baik? Go Public adalah solusinya. Mengapa Go Public? Dengan Go Public, Anda akan menikmati manfaat seperti akses pendanaan yang luas dari pasar modal, peningkatan image perusahaan, likuiditas dan valuasi saham yang menguntungkan bagi founder, peningkatan profesionalisme perusahaan, pertumbuhan dan kelangsungan usaha.